On the eve of their wedding, Anya stared at herself in the mirror, her heart racing and her mind swirling with doubts. 5 years together, and she still couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Ben, on the other hand, seemed so sure of their future together. He'd always been supportive, patient, and understanding. But she couldn't help but wonder if she was ready to give up on her dreams and aspirations just yet. She took a deep breath and sighed, her brows furrowing as she tried to make sense of her conflicted emotions. Ben knocked softly on the door, sensing her turmoil. "Anya, sweetheart, are you okay?" he asked, concern evident in his voice. She turned to face him, her eyes red from tears she hadn't shed yet. "I don't know, Ben. I love you more than anything, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with you." He took her hands in his eyes searching hers for an answer. "I understand, baby. We don't have to get married tomorrow if you're not ready, but I hope you'll consider it. I want nothing more than to spend the rest of my life with you." Their conversation was interrupted by the doorbell ringing. "That'll be the florist," Ben said, excusing himself to answer it. Anya watched him go. As he paid the delivery person, she took a moment to compose herself. Ben walked back into the room, a smile on his face despite the obvious strain in his eyes. "They're here," he said, nodding towards the bouquet of flowers on the table. "They're beautiful, just like you." She didn't respond, still lost in thought. Ben sat down next to her on the bed, his hand gently brushing her cheek. "Anya, I love you so much," he began, "and I want nothing more than to spend the rest of my life with you, but I understand that you need time, and if that's what you need, I'll give it to you. But please, don't make any hasty decisions. Take as much time as you need to figure things out." He paused, searching for the right words to convince her. "I know we've only been together for 5 years, but it feels like forever. I mean, just think about all the memories we've made together, all the adventures we've had, and we've only just begun. There's still so much more we can do. See, experience. I want to grow old with you, Anya. I want to be there for you through thick and thin, through all the ups and downs of life. I want us to build a life together, to share our dreams and our passions. But most of all, I want us to be together. I want you to be my wife, my best friend, my everything." His words struck a chord deep within her, reminding her of all the reasons why she loved him. She looked into his eyes, her own welling up with tears. "I do love you, Ben, more than anything in this world, and I want to be with you too, but I'm scared. Scared of missing out on other opportunities, scared of giving up on my dreams. I need time to figure things out. I need some space to breathe." He nodded, understanding her need for clarity. "Of course, baby. Take all the time you need, but please, don't shut me out. Let's take a break from wedding planning and just enjoy each other's company. We can go on a road trip, explore new places, do all the things we've always wanted to do together, just the two of us." Anya smiled at the thought of their spontaneous adventure. "That sounds like a great idea, Ben. Let's do it." She stood up, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. For now, she would focus on their trip and let the future unfold as it may. Ben packed the car with their essentials, eagerly anticipating their getaway. They drove for hours, enjoying each other's company and the scenery passing by. They stopped at a cozy bed and breakfast, where they spent the night talking and laughing until late into the night. The next morning, they decided to hike through a nearby forest. The trail was steep and challenging, but they helped each other along, their hands intertwined. They reached the top of the hill, breathless but exhilarated, and took in the stunning view of the valley below. "I never knew this place existed," Anya exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Ben replied, his arm around her shoulder. They spent the rest of the day exploring the countryside, stopping at a quaint farmer's market and trying local delicacies. They laughed as they sampled strange foods and watched each other's reactions. As the sun began to set, they found themselves on the beach, watching the waves roll in. They held hands, their fingers intertwined, lost in each other's gaze. "I'm glad we're doing this, Ben," Anya said, her voice soft and sincere. "It's nice to just focus on us for a change." He nodded in agreement, his eyes shimmering in the fading light. "It's been a while since we've had quality time like this. I'm glad we're taking advantage of it." They spent the rest of the evening walking along the beach, collecting seashells and watching the stars come out. They shared stories from their childhood, their dreams for the future, and the things that made them laugh. As they grew more comfortable and understanding with each other's needs that night, they began to open up about their fears and insecurities. They spent the rest of the night talking, their hearts open and vulnerable to each other. As the sun began to rise, they both knew that something had shifted between them. They had grown closer, more connected than ever before. They made a promise to each other, to always communicate openly, to never take each other for granted, and to always support each other's dreams. As they packed up their belongings and prepared to head home, Anya felt a newfound sense of clarity. She knew that she was ready to spend the rest of her life with Ben. She was ready to face the challenges and the uncertainties of the future, hand in hand with the man she loved. Their journey home was filled with laughter and deep conversations, their hearts and minds forever changed by that small amount of time together. It was like a breath of fresh air that blew away the fog from the uncertainty that had been in her mind. They arrived home just in time for the wedding preparations to begin, their renewed sense of love and commitment shining through their every move. As they walked down the aisle, hand in hand, Anya felt a newfound sense of peace wash over her. She was no longer worried about giving up her dreams or missing out on opportunities. She knew that with Ben by her side, they could conquer anything together. Their vows were heartfelt and sincere, each promising to support and love the other through thick and thin. The reception was a blur of laughter, dancing, and joyous tears as family and friends celebrated their union. Anya and Ben found themselves lost in each other's eyes, reliving the memories of their road trip and their heartfelt conversations. They danced under the stars, holding each other close, their hearts beating in perfect rhythm. As the end of the night drew to a close, they retreated to their hotel room, exhausted but content. As is the tradition, Ben carried Anya over the threshold. They collapsed onto the bed, their bodies entwined, their hearts full. They talked about the wedding, the reception, and the love they felt for each other. They shared their hopes and dreams for the future, promising to support each other no matter what challenges lay ahead, and spent the rest of the night making passionate love. The next morning, they awoke to the sound of birds chirping and the smell of fresh coffee. They dressed, grabbed their luggage, and headed to the airport to catch their flight that would take them on their honeymoon. Their journey would be filled with memories of what they had yet to unfold in their future, the laughter they shared, and the bond they had formed in their enchanting honeymoon destination. As they settled into their new life together, Anya found herself constantly amazed by Ben's unwavering support and love. He encouraged her to pursue her dreams, even when it meant he had to make some sacrifices himself. He was always there for her, through the good times and the hard times, and she found that in return, she wanted nothing more than to be there for him. Their love story continued to unfold as they faced new challenges and opportunities together. They made lifelong memories, but it was their connection that remained the strongest, no matter where they went or what they did. They learned to communicate openly, to understand each other's needs, and to always put their love first. As Anya pursued her dreams, Ben stood by her side, encouraging her every step of the way. He became her biggest supporter, her rock, and her source of strength. They grew together, both as individuals and as a couple, learning to embrace each other's quirks and imperfections. As they navigated the ups and downs of life with grace and humor, they welcomed children into their family, and their hearts expanded with love and joy. Their home became a haven, filled with laughter, warmth, and the unmistakable bond of true love. They continued to travel the world, exploring new cultures and expanding their horizons. They supported each other in their careers, cheering each other on through victories and losses alike. They grew together, their love becoming deeper, richer, and more resilient with each passing year. One day, They decided to take a break from their busy lives and retreat to the cozy cabin in the woods. They spent their days hiking, fishing, and simply enjoying each other's company. They relished in the peace and tranquility of their surroundings, grateful for the time they had to reconnect and recharge. As the days turned into weeks, they began to feel a sense of belonging in the woods. They imagined raising their children there, teaching them the value of nature and simplicity. They dreamt of growing old together, surrounded by the beauty of the forest and the warmth of their family. As they were sitting by the lake, watching the sun set over the horizon, Ben proposed an idea. What if we bought the cabin? We could live here full-time, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. We could homeschool our kids, teach them about the importance of protecting our environment. We could create our own little paradise. Anya's heart skipped a beat. The thought of living in the cabin with Ben, raising their children in such a peaceful and nurturing environment, was more appealing to her than she could have ever imagined. She looked at Ben, his face etched with hope and anticipation, and knew that this was what she wanted. "I'd love that, Ben. I really would." They spent the rest of the evening talking about their dreams for the future, the life they could build together in the cabin. They made plans, drew sketches, and imagined their children running barefoot through the forest, learning to appreciate the beauty of nature. As the sun set over the horizon, they knew that their lives were about to change forever. The next morning, they packed up their belongings and said their goodbyes to the cabin. But as they drove away, they couldn't help but feel a sense of longing for the peace and tranquility they had experienced there. They made a promise to each other that they would return soon, to start building their new life together. As they drove back to the city, they began to make plans. They researched homeschooling programs, found ways to incorporate their love for the outdoors into their children's education, and even started looking for a smaller, more sustainable home in the city. They knew that their lives were about to change drastically, but they were both excited and ready for the challenge. Their excitement only grew as they shared their plans with their family and friends. To their surprise, everyone was supportive and even offered to help them transition into their new lives. Their parents agreed to watch their children while they searched for their new home, and their friends offered to help them renovate the cabin that they choose, or find ways to make it more livable for their growing family. As they began the process of selling their city home and preparing to move to the cabin, they found themselves spending more and more time in nature. They would take weekend trips to the woods, hiking, fishing, and exploring their surroundings. They discovered new trails, found hidden waterfalls, and even spotted some wildlife. They felt a sense of peace and contentment that they had never experienced before. Their cabin was perfectly situated. It was near a lake and was surrounded by trees, and even had land for a barn and growing food. One day, while they were sitting by the lake, watching the sunset, Ben suggested that they should invite their friends and family to join them in the cabin. They could create a community where everyone could escape the hustle and bustle of city life and reconnect with nature. Anya loved the idea, and they started planning right away. They invited their closest friends and family, and soon the cabin was bustling with activity. They built a garden where they grew fruits and vegetables together. They constructed a playground for the children, as they were still too young to venture into the woods just yet. And they even built a small stage for outdoor concerts. As the months passed, their little community began to thrive. People would come and go, and everything was just perfect. Anya and Ben spent most of their time with their children, teaching them about the importance of nature and the environment. They took long walks in the woods, watching the wildlife and admiring the beauty of their surroundings. They sat by the lake, watching the sun set over the horizon, every evening and talked about their dreams for the future. As the years passed, their little community grew, and more families joined them in the woods and built their own cabins. They started organic farms, built a small library, and even constructed a small school for their children. They hosted concerts, parties, and gatherings where people from all over the world would come and go. Anya and Ben's love story continued to unfold as they raised their children in the cabin. They faced challenges, but their love for each other and their passion for creating a better life for their family kept them strong. They became advocates for environmental conservation and sustainable living, using their experiences in the cabin as a foundation for their work. Their children grew up healthy and happy, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the love of their parents. They learned the importance of community and helping others, as they saw the way their parents had brought people together in the woods. As the years went by, Anya and Ben's love only deepened. They became well-known advocates for sustainable living and environmental conservation, using their experiences in the cabin as a platform to educate others. Their children grew up to be responsible, compassionate adults, carrying on their parents' legacy. They too fell in love, married, and built families of their own. Some even chose to move back to the cabin, continuing the tradition of community and harmony with nature. As time passed, Anya discussed how she was glad she had married Ben, and now she couldn't imagine life any other way. Anya was remembering how she had been hesitant in the weeks before the marriage, and the hesitance she had expressed about thinking she would lose her freedom. Anya thought to herself that if Ben had not been so understanding and supportive, she may have never known all that she had experienced over the years of being with Ben. In that thought, Anya turned to Ben and said, "You're the love of my life. Ben, I can't imagine life without you. I love you more than anything in this world, and I am so grateful for everything we've been through together. You've shown me a love and support that I never knew existed, and I can't thank you enough. Our life together has been filled with so much joy, adventure, and growth, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. You are my rock, my soulmate, and my forever." As Anya finished her sentence, Ben reached over and took her hand in his eyes filled with love and admiration. "I feel the same way, Anya," he replied softly. "I love you more than words can express, and I am so grateful to have you by my side. Our life together has been nothing short of amazing, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us as well. You are my everything, my heart, my soul, and my forever." As they sat there, lost in each other's eyes, they couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment and peace wash over them. They had been through so much together, faced challenges and obstacles that had threatened to tear them apart, but they had come out stronger and more in love than ever before. They had built a life together, a life filled with love, laughter, and a deep respect for one another, and they knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, hand in hand, heart to heart. Their love story had begun many years ago, in the heart of the city, amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life. But it was in the tranquility of the cabin, surrounded by nature's beauty, that their love truly blossomed. They had found a sense of purpose and fulfillment in creating a life that was in harmony with the environment, and they had shared this passion with others, inspiring them to do the same. It was a source of immense pride for Anya and Ben, knowing that they had made a difference, however small, in shaping the future generations. Their cabin had become a sanctuary, a place where people could escape the chaos of modern life and reconnect with nature. They had built a community, a tight-knit group of families and friends who shared their values and their passion for sustainable living. Children ran barefoot through the grass, played in the creek, and learned about the wonders of the natural world. Anya and Ben watched their children grow into strong, compassionate adults, ready to take on the challenges of the world. They had instilled in them a love for the environment and a deep respect for all living beings. They had taught them the importance of working together, of supporting each other, and of standing up for what they believe in. As the years passed, Anya and Ben became known as elders in their community. People sought their advice on everything from raising children to building sustainable homes. They continued to work tirelessly to promote environmental conservation and sustainable living, traveling the world to speak at conferences and events. It would be great if you could like and subscribe to the channel, and also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Have an enjoyable and enlightening time, and we hope to see you again.